Welcome back. So you're not feeling so good these days. Is it any wonder we've had such a wild ride in terms of temperatures? You know, we had lots of great sunrise pictures, but we also had lots of great sunset pictures taken, for example, by our own Heather Lodge, the producer of First at 4 in Monroe County. What I thought I'd do, I thought I'd just sort of line them up. Naturally, they're all sunset shots, but I thought I'd just line them up along our temperature profile. Derek sent us a great shot, so did Gary Penrod. We started at 29 degrees. We made it all the way to 60 degrees today. Winds in the morning and into the afternoon were strong and out of the south. Then, even though we maxed out at 60 degrees at 3:07 this afternoon, that's when winds started to turn out of the west ahead of an Arctic front that sure is here now. And you don't have to look out the window. You don't even need a graphic. All you got to do is listen to the rattle against your house. Those winds are very strong. We stabilized for a while, but we're done stabilizing now. There are flurries and snow showers on our doorstep, but don't sweat that small stuff. The jet stream pattern we have has been stuck in place basically since the beginning of December. You know, a few years ago, there was a study done at Rutgers and the University of Wisconsin that suggested that because the Arctic is warming so fast, there's less of a temperature differential between the Arctic and also the mid-latitudes, meaning a slower jet stream and more amplified pattern would develop. Now, you can't say this pattern, the one we've had all winter, is exactly connected to climate change, but it sure does look like what we should have. We're nice and cold, they're nice and warm underneath this ridge of high pressure all the way to Alaska, but the Arctic Circle is open for business, and there's some evidence. Strong winds, well, that's another part of the evidence equation. Winds are gusting well into the 40s in all of these places that are in purple, upper 30s to low 40s, and temperatures in the 40s are just a little snippet of history. Now, that cold front, that Arctic front, is on our doorstep, pushing through the viewing area. It's still 42 degrees in Cape Girardeau, but it is 7 in Moline. It is 8 in Des Moines and falling, and wind chills are already well below zero in those places. Look at the differential here. We don't even have a wind chill south and east of us. It's too warm, at least for the moment. 37 degrees at Lambert. Our dew point temperature is 23. Winds are out of the northwest at 25, gusting to nearly 40 miles an hour on a day when we started at 29. We maxed out at 60 degrees. So temperatures are going to fall. Winds are going to stay extremely strong all night. This may keep you up, and in that case, you can watch today in St. Louis. Temperatures will bottom out at around 6 degrees, really all night. All day tomorrow. Dangerously cold wind chills are going to be up and running. That's why there's a wind chill advisory in effect to the north of us. A wind advisory is in effect for all of us through sunrise. And it will still be cold on Tuesday and, for that matter, on Wednesday. Tomorrow on Today in St. Louis, first thing in the morning, joins Bree and Scott. Don't forget Sarah will have traffic. We will get you what you need to have to get through the morning commute.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Survey crews from the National Weather Service have been out all day trying to determine which areas actually had tornadoes last night. And Mike Roberts is here to explain how they do that.
You know, there's so much to look at, and looks can be deceiving. So what we did was we went back about 7 blocks west of here. We are on Woodcrest Lane, right behind Hazelwood West High School, where National Weather Service crews already have found evidence of an EF2 tornado. That's 111 to 135 mile an hour wind. And the damage really is just overwhelming, but that's something that survey crews have to guard against, because looks can be deceiving. You see that uprooted tree on top of that house? Wow, that's a lot of damage, obviously, but it isn't necessarily direct evidence of a tornado, nor is the damage caused to that garage, because you have to remember that a garage is to wind what a catcher's mitt is to a baseball. Here's what the survey crews will be looking for. They're going to be looking for evidence of a path that has convergent damage to it, and that damage is going to have to tell the Weather Service crew that there seems to have been a rotational component, and that rotational component had to axis. So they're going to look for convergence with the debris. They'll also be looking for other things as well, obviously, like twisted debris, like projectiles stuck in places that they should not be. Time is of the essence for all of us, but that is especially the case for those on Woodcrest Lane and all across the area where they are waiting. Folks like those living on Woodcrest Lane for information about these storms from the National Weather Service survey crews. Now you're looking at what used to be a garage. As I mentioned, that garage is to wind what a catcher's mitt is to a baseball. So that may tell us something about wind speed. But funny enough, the mud splattered on top of that house is in direct opposition to what we think was the path, which went this way. So the debris and the mud up there is in opposition to that path. All right, well, here is your forecast. The low pressure system responsible for storms yesterday is responsible for the cold air that we have tonight. We'll have clouds through the course of the evening and overnight hours. We're going to be bottoming out at around 35 degrees in the city. Some of the valleys will be cold enough for a light frost. There's a frost advisory in effect for Denton Phelps counties. And when we get warm tomorrow, Mike, we don't get warm, we'll have clouds and a high of around 51 degrees.
What a difference a day makes, really.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, thanks very much.
Well, the Comedy Channel and Conan O'Brien, among others, are having a whole lot of fun with the polar vortex. But what the heck is it? First of all, the circumpolar vortex is where it lives. These actually are low pressure systems inside the polar jet. So the polar jet is the circumpolar vortex because it goes all around the North Pole, and usually it's moving very fast. Any low pressure system is a vortex, and sometimes we'll have many polar vortices inside the polar jet, but in a given winter there are usually two places that they tend to form, and usually there are two main ones. One's in Siberia, the other one is the North American polar vortex. Its mean position is way up there over northeastern Canada. Usually the jet's going so fast that it keeps that Arctic air, with only a few exceptions in a given winter, well to the north of us. What's been different about this year is that the polar jet has been moving so slow, the polar vortex has been a lot farther south than it typically goes, and so we have been exposed to a lot more Arctic air than we typically see, and so has the rest of much of North America. And in addition to all of that, once you get this polar air here, when you have a surface low try to return warmer air back over that Arctic air, you can get snow, or you can get freezing rain, or you can get both. And Kay, both of those are in our forecast.
And Mike Roberts is here talking about a big chill heading our way, Mike.
We got a lot done since Friday, didn't we? Oh my gosh,
did.
2 playoff games, a football win. You know what? Our Cardinals are going out into a pretty cool atmosphere in Los Angeles, but quickly they warm. However, as they do that, it's kind of at our expense. I want to show you a picture that has been photoshopped. We found this on our Facebook page. Jamie Heinrich changed the Hollywood sign to Go Cardinals. Is that funny or what? Now look at the numbers. Our high today in Chesterfield, Rolla, and Effingham, 73 and 72 degrees. LA at downtown was 72 degrees, LAX was 71 degrees, and just up the coast in Oxnard it was 69 degrees. They're going to get warmer, and as they do, we're going to get cooler. It's going to be plenty cool tonight. Barely in the 40s north and east of St. Louis. In the metro area around 46 degrees. I tell you what, you guys in Litchfield might even fall into the upper 30s. A little more cloud cover to the south and west will mean just a slightly warmer number at sunrise, but it's going to be chilly everywhere. We will warm into the 70s though again tomorrow, and then not so much the 70s after that. You know, out west, as our Cardinals head there, they're already there. Clear evenings, sunny days, and temperatures each and every day will get warmer. Here in the Midwest, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we go in the other direction. Our transition day is going to be Tuesday when we get some rainfall. So I got to tell you, the numbers are going to be topping out near 70 degrees tomorrow. Our normal high is 69 degrees, at 70 on Tuesday with rain, and then the crescendo goes in the other direction. So unless you have fur like Cruiser, Seeger, Abby, Briggs, and Maggie, Well, a short sleeve shirt when our cards come home is not going to be sufficiently warm for you. And along the way, we are going to get that rainfall. It moves in tomorrow night and hangs around into Tuesday afternoon and evening. The bulk of this is going to be coming, however, in the morning. The big rains will be to the south and west of Missouri and Illinois. So we've got a pretty impressive pattern that's already leaking a little cloud cover in our direction, but no precipitation at all out west. This huge trough of low pressure, which actually is going to support a whole lot of snow again in the central and northern Rockies, is bringing in some pretty cool air, at least for the southwestern United States at the moment. But that changes. Tomorrow, that cool air starts to move in our direction, so game time temperatures 78, 82, and 88 degrees Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will greet the Cardinals and the Dodgers. Our low pressure system is actually going to be formed as that cold air moves in our direction. Initially, we'll just see clouds tomorrow in the afternoon. It'll probably be late tomorrow night and into Tuesday before the rain arrives. When it does, we have the potential of seeing half of an inch of rainfall, including some Tuesday morning thunderstorms. Then this cold front comes through by the middle of the day on Tuesday, sweeps away the clouds, sweeps away the rain, and sweeps away our warm temperatures. I think we'll see variable clouds on Wednesday. Look, it's 43 degrees already in Kirksville, and in Moline it's 39 degrees at Lambert right now. The temperature is 58 degrees. We've got northeast winds. Our high today, 74 degrees, well warmer than the norm, and also about 5 cooler than yesterday. So partly cloudy, a low tonight of 46 degrees, sun in the morning tomorrow, but clouds in the afternoon, no rain during the day, a high of 69 degrees, rain tomorrow night into Tuesday, especially in the morning, and then it's going to be blustery and cool Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So when the Cards come home, the cold air will be here.
Oh, they're going to wrap it up in L.A., and they won't have to worry about it till the World Series.
I like the way you think.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All this week, we're taking a look back at the Great Flood of 1993. 20 years ago this week, the Chesterfield Valley went underwater. Mike Roberts explains what caused this catastrophic event.
Well, of course, the Great Flood of 1993 was a seminal event in our area, but I want to show you what it should look like in a normal year. This is a Landsat image from NASA in September 2002 showing the Missouri and the Mississippi and the Illinois behaving themselves. They did not do that in 1993. This is an astounding image, and none of these rivers showed any respect for their boundaries. It wasn't just us. North and South Dakota, the Great Lakes, all the way to Kansas, even into Wisconsin, some of Michigan were impacted by all of this rainfall, and there was a lot. $12 billion worth of damage was done by this great flood, the worst in U.S. history, flooding 30,000 square miles, 75 towns, and 15 million acres of farmland. And about that heavy rainfall, just for June and July, 12 inches of rain fell into both of the Missouri and the Mississippi River basins. 24 inches of rain fell across Iowa, into Kansas and Missouri. Eastern Iowa, for these 2 months, 36 inches of rainfall. But if you back up to April, 48 inches of rain. So how does this happen? Well, it was a prolonged El Nino year that we had from 1992 to 1993. I should say prolonged El Nino period. And what happens is the jet stream is changed by these warmer than normal waters that are in the Pacific. And it's the case for both hemispheres. In our case, the storm track actually enhanced what we'd already come into this El Nino with, a wet fall. And then it added to the very heavy snowfall that we had upstream both the Missouri and the Mississippi, and that led the ground to be exceptionally saturated. So when the rains came, they had no place to go. Now, it is also the case that we had a recurring upper level low pressure system also caused by El Nino over in Montana, especially in the spring and in the summer. What that did was it took moist air, not just from the Gulf, but even the Caribbean, and fed it to the north. So over and over again, we had complexes feeding into first the Missouri, then the Mississippi River basins, and it is astounding. We had a wet April, then in May, very heavy rain in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. Then in June, it shifted east a little bit into Wisconsin, but still Missouri, and in Kansas. And then in July, all of that water came down through the Missouri and worked its way across our state. So we had record crests in Kansas City, Boonville, Jefferson City, Herman, and St. Charles. As we tracked it along the Mississippi, we had a near record crest early early in July, around the 12th, a new record crest on the 20th, but all of that came before that water came along the Missouri and fed into an already flooded Mississippi, and that's how we got to this record crest on the 1st of August at 49.58 feet. It was the duration as well that was a problem for most of the region. The rivers and streams in our area were at or above flood stage from April to October, and the poster boy for this, I'm afraid, is Grafton, Illinois. The Mississippi River at Grafton was above flood stage for 195 days from April to October. All this week, we will bring you new reports as we look back on the great flood of 1993.
Amazing time. And you know, you think back in all of the weather events that were happening then. There was even a tornado in St. Charles that touched down,
which I'd forgotten
20 years ago this week. I know. Well, it was just, we were so inundated by rain and storms and flooding that it was amazing time. So
it literally changed the weather too, because we would forecast partly cloudy skies, then we would get rainfall. We'd forecast storms and it would pour. All that moisture was feeding back into every weather system that came to visit.